Some of these content creators who started off have had full-blown careers, and some of them have kind of disappeared. While they may have seen an incredible rise at the start, I have had conversations with people, some of my favorite people, who no longer even make content. What actually happened for those people who blew up on TikTok in 2020? My For You page looked a lot like this back during the pandemic. And one of the ones I remember the most was that god-awful renegade. My name's Lonnie. I do this channel to show people how to better connect to themselves and the world around them. And I kind of try to guide people through whatever it is I'm interested in at the time. In this video, I want to explicitly talk about what it was like blowing up on TikTok in 2020. I'll tell you this. First of all, making content back then in 2020 was very different than making content now, and a lot of you guys who might have tried to do it will know what I'm talking about. One of the reasons it was so different is because there was no content really on the app at all. I was one of the very first comedy content creators. After I saw Gary Vaynerchuk talking about get on TikTok. TikTok is fine too. I decided to hop on, and I didn't even know what to make. So what I did was I found a bunch of old Twitter posts of God and his angels making things, and I decided I would turn those into videos. And I reached out to the authors. I was like, yo, can I make this into a video? Into a TikTok? Like a what? I said, can I make these into a TikTok? And they were like, how much you get the hell out of my face? And I'm like, okay, thank you. And they did not really care because nobody was really on TikTok at the time. I started off again with 0, and within 6 months, I had built to 2 million followers. Wonky, insane, because largely of that series that I did. It was a time whenever like you could really post anything you want. You could fart on TikTok and it would blow up. Somebody would see it. The algorithm really just wanted people to fill the pages with content. That way it could keep people on there for longer. Some of these content creators who started off have had full-blown careers, and some of them have kind of disappeared. So while they may have seen an incredible rise at the start of their content creating journey, I have had conversations with people, some of my favorite people, who no longer even make content. I had a whole TikTok group of some very early creators. My friend Danny Phantom, he was one of the people who showed me that content could even be like comedy at the very start. I reached out to him recently and he told me that he no longer makes content. He wanted to get back into it, but was doing a job somewhere else, but decided to no longer pursue it. And I thought that was kind of interesting because in my head, I was like, oh, anybody who like started on TikTok in 2020, you've blown up, you have viewership, you have attention, you can make, the world is your oyster. You're getting on these fancy brand trips and things like that. My God, let me tell you guys how it was like. I think this was like maybe the end of 2020, 2021. So we're dealing with COVID on one hand, but on the other hand, people are still like meeting up and brands are like trying to get money. My very first brand deal was with Amazon. It was God and Gabe, and they opened up an Amazon package, and it was like Amazon Prime students, whatever. They paid me $600 for that, and I thought I was rolling in the money, which to be fair, $600 to make one single video, rolling in the money, all right, back then especially. From my experience, it was a very weird time, and one of the things I'll start to tell you about is like, we were just meeting people. We were straight up just meeting strangers on the internet. Oh my God, Jennings Brower, my friend Jennings Brower, the way I met this dude, there was a TikTok call with Iron Sanctuary, Sierra Mist, I think, and some other creators, and then Jennings Brower was on it, right? There's this one dude in the bottom right-hand corner looking like this. Like just like emoting the whole Zoom meeting. I'm like, what is going on? And I'm trying to sit here and be serious, like, okay, all these other established creators are very strong, like 10 million followers there. I've seen his series. This guy 7 million, this guy 2 million. You know, like you're like in one of those anime training arcs when you gotta get into the tournament of power and they gotta scope out all their opponents. I'm like, oh yes, keep it professional. The meeting ends and they're like, oh, hey guys, where's everybody from? I'm like, oh, I'm from Florida. And the guy in the corner, where in Florida? And I'm like, oh my God, North Florida. Where in North Florida? My mom tells me to talk to strangers on the internet, so I don't really want to dox myself and tell you where I live. So I'm in Jacksonville. Oh God, that's where I live. All right, I'll reach out. We'll hang out tomorrow. And that's how me and Jennings became friends. And it was a very weird thing because legitimately I was like, oh man, this guy's gonna kill me. We go work out. We show up to like this park in between both of us the next day. One of the nicest dudes I ever met. However, there were a lot of people I met later that year that were not so nice. But early on, as we were doing these like trips and stuff like that, and just meeting each other, like, cause the vibe and the energy between creators was very much like, let's collaborate. Are you chill? Are you fun? Do you know what you're doing? Are you as confused by this whole thing as I am? What's the vibe, you know? And it was a very, very cool time. It did feel like kind of a little bit of summer vacation. Like you were able to be like, oh, I've seen your videos. We did a Vegas trip one time where a bunch of creators just went to Vegas, like in maybe 2022. People throwing some money down to play blackjack. And I'm like, all right, okay, TikTok. All right, I see you. All these, like, you got like 2 million followers. You putting like $1,000 a hand on blackjack. All right, pop off, you know? know? There were times as well, the dark side of all that is that sometimes you'd hang out with these people and it's like, oh my God, I've seen your videos. And in person, wow, you really suck. You are a terrible person. This is not fun to be around you. You are insecure and you're weird. Terrible combination. I think when it comes to like the actual journey of how a lot of us felt making content, and I can speak from my personal experience as well, it was rather interesting. There was the initial wave of viewership and content where videos were getting like 5 million, 6 million, 10 million just for kind of showing up, maybe being pretty. And if you're funny, God forbid, you're the perfect trifecta of all of these things. And then things started to taper off, and a lot of content creators started to panic because with the tapering off of the viewership came the tapering off of the pay. And also there was this thing that happened probably about 2022 where companies said, oh, for 2 years we've been paying a lot of money to content creators, and what is the exact return on investment that we're seeing? If you guys remember, if you were on TikTok in 2020, a lot of times brand deals from like content creators, the comment section would just be people not interested in the product. It was just people saying, okay, Queen, get your bag. Or like, all right, we see you, bro. Get that bag, bro. I'm not buying it, but get your bag, you know? And that's, if you're a brand and you're like, oh, I spent how much money? $20,000 to get this person to promote our product. Everyone in the comments says, we're not interested, but we like you. That's been the downfall of a lot of careers on short form. It's very easy to pop off, so to speak. It's very easy to go viral, but it's hard to make a sustainable career monetarily with short form content. The other thing that I think can really mess with a lot of creators, or that messed up a lot of creators, TikTok worked in this way where if you just jumped on the platform and made content, they'd probably give you a lot of viewership. And that's maybe the worst thing that could ever happen. And I'm gonna tell you why. I saw this video by this guy named Jazza, I think. Basically what he was saying was that like the entire platform of TikTok in 2020, if you start off your career with massive virality, you are then beholden to wherever that virality decides to take you. For example, me, I did God and Gabriel. I had a really fun time doing it. It was just this idea to work on something, a portion of my personality. That went mega viral at the start of the pandemic 2020 and has been kind of defining of my career even to this point. And it has been a lot of work to even undo the perception of God and Gabriel on my career. Like I'm a host and personality. Like, oh, you're that guy did God and Gabriel. It's like, I do more than that, but that is all people know you for. So now tell me, what do you do? What does a creator do whenever they're like, oh yeah, I was just like, I literally went viral for farting on camera, but actually I'm a poet. It's like, well, now you have an audience of people who want to see you fart. And whenever you try to tell your poetry, they're like, okay, well, when are you gonna fart? When are you gonna fart on a crazy style? And if you're not farting, you can be sure them videos ain't starting. It's a crazy example, but the alternative is a slow build where you kind of develop these muscles, an audience, and the skill set on how to deliver content consistently and direct the audience, the attention, and your brand where you ultimately want it to go. The people who fall off on social media, whether they see a pop off or not, are the people who do not have a framework for success. And what I mean by this is the people who succeed are people who tend to have had a job or work in something else that taught them what it means to have to show up every single day over and over again, work towards a goal, and have a plan, right? The people who don't do so well tended to be like the kids who maybe like dropped out of high school, did not do college, and just thought, hey, I can just renegade and get views and that'll pay my bills forever. And those paychecks stopped coming because brands were like, okay, well, what do you really offer? What are you an expert in? A lot of the creators who did not succeed are now having to figure out what to do next, or like going to live back at home, which is okay. But if you want this long career as a social media creator or an artist or anybody who doesn't have a traditional workflow, you're gonna have to develop skill sets around business, diligence, and audience development one way or another. Whether you're doing that through like working on the algorithms on social media, or whether you're doing that by building community physically wherever you're at, you're going to have to learn how to sell yourself and like deliver something that other people don't. And luckily, you're special enough to have something like that, but what is it for you, you know? A lot of these content creators, they did not maximize on their time while they had the limelight from 2020 to something that's, let's say, like even 2022, 2023, 2024. And whenever it came time to show up and be like, okay, what skills did you develop while you made all this money and had all this attention beyond just like dancing? And it's like, oh, I can dance. Did you get smarter? Did you take classes? Did you take UCB classes? If not, a lot of those people no longer make content because they weren't able to figure out how to make it profitable to pay their bills like it was back during the bubble. But the ones who are still doing it have figured out how to leverage like affiliate links, have figured out how to get like brand deals, long-term sponsorships, make make better content, or even just like divert their career into something else they weren't able to get to before they had a following and an audience. I see some people like Joel Verbel, Tony Weaver, they do like a bunch of advocacy things like that. They aren't primarily social media creators. They're authors and doctors, but social media makes them like some of the most valuable doctors and authors. Does that make sense? Like, it should be a multiplier for the career you actually want to have and develop. A lot of people who failed or fell off did not have a career beyond that it was there to multiply and accentuate, so to speak. I think the important thing to realize is like, oh man, I really wish I would have jumped on back then. You can jump on now. Like, yes, it was much easier back then, but I will tell you the truth, whether it's TikTok or YouTube, for one, if I was talking like my siblings, YouTube is going to make you probably the most money and bring you the most stability, but you will have to do the due diligence of studying how does a platform work, who are the successful creators in the different niches, how have they become successful, what things do you need to learn. It's also not even just like making videos. You have to learn how you work. You have to learn how you work. You have to learn what makes you special, and then you have to learn how you get results. Like, in what times in your life have you gotten results? Because that is what you will have to apply in order to be successful in social media. There's still a lot of space for unique people with unique perspectives who are experts in different things, who understand how to present that in a way that people find interesting and want to be a part of or want to sit and listen to. I'm learning it currently as we speak right now. This is a part of my journey, you know? Been doing content maybe for 10 years now, and I'm just now at a spot where I'm like, okay, cool. We're trying YouTube again after failing the 6th time. What do I need to learn differently to make it go the way I want it to go? To make sure that like I can have a sustainable career as a personality and host, making people laugh, sharing some information, and having a good time with people I love and care about for a long time. And some people have entered in the content game in the last like 2 years even, are doing great because they have a very clear understanding of where they want to go and what they want to do, or they're at least willing to put in the hours and time and work to decode, crystallize, and uncover who it is they want to be on social media and what kind of value they want to bring. The world is changing and the next wave is on its way. Make sure you are not lost when it comes. Like, it's coming. Make sure you're in position, type of thing, you know? Thank you guys for watching. If you watched this long, please leave a comment. Leave a comment on what kind of videos you'd like to see next. We're figuring out this channel. We're getting our groove, and I really appreciate you guys letting me do this and letting me be here and being here to watch these things with me. Yeah, leave a comment if anything stuck out to you or anything was helpful. I'd like to know that for sure. So thank you guys for watching. I'll see you in the next one.